Good morning. Welcome to another Traveling Beyond Boundaries live. Today I'm going to chat with you guys about planning your first princess cruise. I am planning on doing this in like a video series where I'm going to break down each point individually into a video or a few points into a video. Having bagel this morning. But I want to do, and sorry, she's stimming with a quiet-ish toy compared to what she was stimming with earlier, so I gave her that one. But I just wanted to kind of go through it quickly with as a live to kind of see where people are having questions and whatnot. I know a lot of you watch this after the fact, so feel free to post questions in the comments below and I will answer those. And then when I make my videos on each section, it'll help me give an idea of what exactly information people are looking for. So for those that don't know, if you are new here, my name is Michele. I'm a travel agent and a certified cruise specialist, and I'm also a certified cruise counselor, and I am a certified princess cruise expert, and I travel cruise with my daughter and usually my brother as well. My daughter has special needs, so she does her thing. We have group cruises and stuff like that. Information will be in the description. Please don't grab me, Taylor. The dog. So anyway, so if you're planning a cruise and you're like, I don't want to do all the things, feel free to reach out to me. I do have openings for certain times of the year, but all that will be in the description. But I wanted to do this as if you are planning your own cruise, step by step. I have a list, step by step, on how you can plan your own cruise without hiring a travel agent. If you want to hire me or another travel agent, you're more than welcome to. Obviously, there's perks to that. But if you want to book your own cruise, do it yourself, this is the way to do it. So first off, you need to choose your cruise line. I'm going to go for, after this part, about Princess specifically, because that is my preferred cruise line. It's the cruise line that I personally use the most, and it is the one I book the most for my clients. But for this first little second here, choosing your cruise line is so important. A lot of people go budget, destination, dates. Often they'll look for dates and just try to find the cheapest cruise possible. Don't do that. Don't do that. Every cruise line is so different, especially if you are a first-time cruiser and you don't know the cruise lines or don't have a good idea about the cruise lines. Like, you might be like, well, I've heard some things about this cruise line. I've heard some things about this cruise line. You do not want to book the wrong cruise line. So many people, even myself, I booked my first cruise based off of what the travel agent kind of was just like, this is the cruise line I book. I will not book certain lines, and I will straight up tell clients why I don't book those lines. And so I don't only book Princess, but Princess is my main one. But I have not had good travel agents in the past, which is why I became my own. But researching and knowing your cruise lines is so important, because you could end up on a cruise line that does not fit your needs at all, is not anything like what you thought it was going to be, anything you'd like it to be, because there's definitely, like, Princess is not for everyone, Carnival's not for everyone, Celebrity's not for everyone, Royal Caribbean's not for everyone. These cruise lines are not trying to be for everyone. They have their own demographic, just like everything. Walmart is not trying to sell to people who want name brand clothing. It's just not their niche. So it's so important to know the cruise lines and know what you're getting. So please do not choose based off of price, because you often get what you pay for. And if you start by price, you are probably not going to have the best cruise. Maybe you'll have an amazing cruise. There are definitely people that just book based off of price. They have a great cruise experience, whatever. But for a lot of people, like, booking just based off of that one fact without knowing the cruise lines is not a good way to start. Anyway, so like I said, going forward now, I am going to be talking specifically about Princess, because that is the cruise line that I book the most, and that is what my channel is mostly about. If you love Princess and you want more information, subscribe, because 90% of my content is Princess, because that's who we cruise with. So anyway, so the next step is knowing your travel dates. If you are like, oh, I can travel anytime between this state and this state, and you have very flexible dates, great. I do not. I have flexible dates in the summer, but the rest of the year I do not. So for me, dates is my next important thing. What can I get for those dates? Where can I go for those dates? So knowing your dates and knowing how long you can go, because maybe you like summertime, I can go up for 6 weeks and no problem. But Christmas, I can only go for 2 weeks. Spring break, I can only go for 1 week. So knowing how long you can go and how flexible you are with those dates is super important, because Next up, you're going to figure out your destinations, and your destinations could be based off of your dates. For instance, I really want to do a Panama Canal and I really want to do Hawaii. Both of those cruises tend to be 15 to 16 days, and they are only available during winter time in Canada. So I cannot take them. I just can't. I don't have a 15, 16 day block in winter time. Where there's other places like Alaska only is happening in spring, summer, fall. So if you're looking to do a Christmas cruise, you are not going to Alaska. So that's where it's kind of important to know your travel dates before you look at your destinations, because there's things like hurricane season for the Caribbean. Some cruise lines won't cruise during hurricane season to the Caribbean. Princess does, to select ports and stuff, and I've cruised with them during hurricane season with no issue. So I shouldn't say that, no issue. We've had canceled ports and stuff, but not like the ship being rocky or anything like that. So if you're looking for some inspiration on where to go and some advice on where to go and stuff like that, I do have a private Facebook group. It's in the description, but basically facebook.com/groups/traveling beyond boundaries. Or I think if you just search in the search bar, Cruise Vacations by Michele, Michele, just one L, you should be able to find it there. It's like Cruise Vacations by Michele for solo women, families, and groups. I think is kind of how it's named. But I have a private Facebook group. Feel free to post questions on there or anything like that. And myself and the rest of the group are happy to answer destination stuff or just general questions in general. So once you've figured out your destination, that's when you can start exploring specific itineraries. Now, for some cruises, you might not have an option. It might be this is the 7-day itinerary for Alaska, or this is the 7-day itinerary for Mexico. And so if you've chosen multiple cruise lines, you've narrowed it down to multiple cruise lines, that's where you can kind of bounce back and forth and see like, well, Holland America does this 7-day cruise to Alaska, Princess does this 7-day cruise during that time to Alaska. And you can kind of be like, well, which one do I want more? But that's when you can start exploring itineraries and figuring out which itinerary you want the most, which one goes to the ports that you want to go to. Maybe you don't know anything about the ports, but that's when you were like in the last stage of researching your destinations. You should have been looking at what ports to go to, what is interesting there, and whatnot. And then if you're fortunate enough to have narrowed it down to your destination and itinerary, you might have the choice of ships. And this is where we are kind of for 2026. We're doing an Alaska group cruise, and then we're doing probably 2 back-to-back cruises in Alaska, so 5 weeks in Alaska total. And so with Princess for Alaska in summertime, they have usually 2 ships going north and south. And so for us, we will have the option to choose what ship we want to go on. And so depending on what ships you like, what type of ships you like, do you want a larger ship, smaller ship, newer ship, older ship, more intimate setting? Do you have dietary restrictions and certain ships are better for accommodating those? Are there certain shows you're looking for and those shows are on certain ships? That kind of thing. Usually older, smaller ships are going to be cheaper in the price. So that is probably where we're leaning to when we're going to do 4 weeks in Alaska after our group cruise, because price usually is very important to me, especially I love the smaller Princess ships. I love the Crown and the Ruby and Sapphire, like that class, the grand class of ships. So for me, it's like, yes, I love the Royal class of ships too. We're going on the Sky, we're going on Discovery, but we have a group cruise on Discovery if you're interested. That's all in the Facebook group as well as the description. But I love the Royal class ships, but some of the price difference for a 2-week back-to-back North-South Alaska, you're looking at like $500 to $1,000 more per thing. And we're doing it twice times I'm paying for 2 people. So that's like $2,000 difference compared to doing it on a smaller ship. So if you are interested or you are able to choose a ship, and that's where you can decide, is price my focal point and I just want to get the cheapest one, or do I need a newer ship, do I need certain amenities at certain ships, and then you can decide. Because like even for instance like Royal Caribbean, you can look at, you're going to the Caribbean and there's so many options, and that's where you can narrow it down by ship. So maybe you want to go on the Icon of the Seas, maybe you want to go on an Oasis class ship, maybe you want to go on a smaller ship like we're going on the Adventure of the Seas this summer. So depending on where you're going, your options might be more limited on what ship. Like for instance, we're doing a Norwegian Fjords cruise, and Princess didn't have the itinerary we wanted, so we are doing with Royal Caribbean, and they only have one itinerary with one ship. So the Jewel of the Seas is the ship we are going on because that's our only choice. But if you have the choice, research your ships, figure out which ship you want to go on. But yeah, if you're finding value in this so far, hit the subscribe button. Like I said, I do mostly princess content, with a little bit of just general cruise stuff too, but mostly princess cruises, since that is what I am most knowledgeable about and have the most experience about. I'm sorry, I probably should slow down my talking, seeing where I'm at in my list versus the time, but I talk really fast sometimes. I have ADHD, that's my excuse. So you've narrowed down where you're going, when you're going, what ship you're on. You've gotten all that figured out, and now it's time to decide what cabin you want. Now, for some people, like myself, my default is interior. I will always do interior unless, like, I can get a cheaper price. So, like we have with Adventure of the Seas, we are in an ocean view cabin because it was actually cheaper than an inside cabin. And I have a whole video on how to save money on cruising. I'll actually link that one at the end if you're watching this after the fact, but and we sometimes get good deals like that because of how we book our cruises. But anyway, select your room type. For some people, they are default to balcony. I have a lot of clients that will only do balcony, always do balcony or above. So sometimes they'll do a suite, like especially the cabana suites and stuff like that. Those are getting more and more popular. But for the most part, most people cruise the same type of cabin every time. The exceptions that I've seen is like people that usually cruise interior, but then they're doing Norway or they're doing Alaska and they want a balcony for that experience to see the beautifulness. For us, we cruise differently, so we don't really care so much about that. Also for us, we have safety issues. My daughter sleeps in the same bed as me, and on a twin size bed, we need it against a wall, and we can't get that with a balcony. So knowing what cabin type you are looking at, and then also knowing if you want to purchase a Plus or Premier package. Like I said, I'm going to talk specifically about Princess. So Princess Cruises offers the Princess Plus and the Princess Premier package. Again, I have videos on the channel about it. And so they offer those packages that include your drinks, your internet, gratuities, all that kind of stuff. And so you can decide whether or not you feel like you want a package, or if you just want the standard fare. For us, we personally do the standard fare, but I have a lot of clients that do the Plus package because of the added value for what they're getting. So so decide what cabin you want, where you're going, all that stuff, and if you want a package, because it's better to book it with your cruise. I'll talk about it later, but you can do it later, but I recommend doing it knowing what you're doing before you book your cruise. So now it's time to book your cruise. You can book it with a travel agent. Even if you did all the planning yourself, you could still book your cruise with a travel agent. You could even book your cruise and then transfer it to a travel agent. Some travel agents like that. Some travel agents don't. I used to allow it, and I have now started not allowing it just because I've had too many issues with clients booking it themselves and not putting in the right information. So if you are planning on booking a cruise, and then transferring it to a travel agent, check with your travel agent to make sure that they will accept it. Otherwise, if you want to just book it yourself, this is your time to do it. You might want to wait depending on pricing. If you're like, oh, I know Princess often has $100 deposits. I know Princess often has third or fourth guest sale free. And you might want to wait a little bit, but you might also lose out on that pricing. So I don't usually recommend waiting unless you know, please don't snack things, unless you know for sure that a promotion is coming up, but there's never a guarantee, and I don't even know what promotions are coming up. I know currently, as of right now, so today is May 26th, 2024, until May 31st, Princess has $100 deposits, so $135 Canadian or $100 American. Emirates, please don't hit the tripod. And they also have third and fourth guest sale free on select itineraries. Also, if you are a solo cruiser, travel agents have access to solo cruiser fares. So if you're looking for the best rate and you're like, I don't care where I go, what currently does Princess have that is not double occupancy, like not double rate, because you pay a huge single supplement fee when you cruise solo. And so Princess does have a few that are not a full 200%. Some of them are, say, 175%, some are 150%. So anyway, so now's the time to book by yourself, either calling into Princess or doing it through the Princess website. Or like I said, you can book it through a travel agent. Once your cruise is booked, make sure you complete all the documentation. I highly recommend getting the Princess app at this point and inputting all your information to check in. Princess is amazing that you don't have to check in on a certain date. You can pre-fill in all that information in advance. This is so much better than other cruise lines, where you have to wait for a check-in date, and then you have to remember to check in, and then you have to scan your passport every time. You have to do all this stuff every single time. Whereas with Princess, often a lot of the information is carried over from cruise to cruise. So if you're like me and you have 5 million different Princess cruises in your app, you don't have to input all the information every single time. Royal Caribbean should know by now where I was born, where I live, all that stuff. I don't know why they make me input it every single time for every single passenger. It's a little frustrating. Anyway, we have 2 more cruises with them in adios. So yeah, I highly recommend downloading the app at this point and inputting as much as you can into it. You can even order your medallions at this point. This is the nice thing with Princess, with having access to it right away. You can do all the steps and be green lane before, like, 2 years before your cruise. If you have a credit card that's set to expire before your cruise, you will have to wait to input that. If your passport's going to expire before your cruise, you'll have to wait to input that. But for the most part, you can do all the things and get yourselves to Greenland. We're cruising on the Sun Princess in July of 2026. Nope, 25, not that far in advance. So a year and a half, and we ordered our medallions like last summer. We ordered our medallions. Whenever it became available for Canadians to order their medallions, we did it. So doing as much as possible in advance just makes it a little bit easier. So complete all your documentation. When you start to get closer to your cruise, that's when you can start looking at pre-cruise hotels, post-cruise hotels, flights with Princess through their flight packages, usually 330 days-ish before your cruise. So I highly recommend checking out those. The cruise lines usually have the best rates. So unless you are doing something through, like, say for instance, like I have the WestJet MasterCard. So for me to book my WestJet flight with Princess, I actually end up paying a bit more compared to using points and discounts and companion vouchers and stuff. So unless you are trying to do that, I highly recommend booking straight through the cruise line. We've saved for our Norway cruise, where we are not flying with WestJet because WestJet doesn't fly to where we are going. We saved probably over $1,000 with the 3 of us to be able to just book it through. We booked it through Royal Caribbean for that one time. Their flight system is horrible. Princess, thankfully, even if you booked your cruise yourself, significantly easier. If you are looking to book your pre-cruise or post-cruise hotel, you do have to call into Princess for that. I don't know of a way on the consumer end of things to book it yourself. And same with transfers and stuff. I believe you have to call in for that. Travel agents have access to all of that, so I just click a few buttons and I can book my own. But and then for my clients, I do the same. But for the consumer end, you do have to call in, but at least it's easier than what Royal does. Royal is kind of horrible. If you do not want to book a pre-cruise hotel, but you want to do transfers, you are more than welcome to do what we do. We stay at an airport hotel, and we take a shuttle from the airport to the hotel for the night on our own, like through the airport or through the hotel. And then we will take the airport shuttle in the morning back to the airport. And then we take the Princess shuttle. So Princess will tell you a time to arrive by. Usually it's like 10 o'clock. And it's like, just make sure you get your butt there by 10 o'clock. Usually you meet at a baggage carousel, and you can do that. Royal Caribbean offers this as well, but theirs is a little, just stop feeding the dog. She's like going like this to feed the dog. But Royal Caribbean's information is not as great and not as straightforward, whereas Princess literally has right on your transfer stuff. If you are not flying in today, this is what you do. Princess is one of the few cruise lines that still offer pre-cruise packages. Royal dropped this, and it made me so angry because we love this package. So basically what happens is you land, you go get your luggage, you meet the Princess rep right like usually at Luggage Carousel 1. They'll have a sign, Princess Cruises. You go there, you check in with them. They then will get you on a bus and have you shipped off to your hotel for the night. Then in the morning, what we've experienced is that they will give you some sort of luggage tag system or give you instructions for your luggage. They will then take your luggage, load it onto the bus. You don't see your luggage from the moment they pick it up until you are on your ship and they've already taken care of everything for you. So you don't have to worry about any of your luggage stuff. As long as it's properly tagged with your princess tags and whatnot, they will take care of it for you. So it's really good because you're not like lugging it around all day. But basically in the morning, you'll get instructions on where and when to meet and whatnot, but then you will get on your shuttle and they will take you right to your ship. And there's no like, with us, with the way we do a lot of our ones with our back and forth between the hotel and the airport, we have like basically 2 extra transfers involved, but they're free transfers from the hotel. I only book hotels that have free airport transportation. We have done ones before, like in LA, where we did, what did we do for that? Oh, I booked a private transfer to our hotel. I booked my hotel on my own, and then I used the hotel transfer to the cruise port. We won't be doing that again. We're doing a group cruise to Mexico in 2025 in April, I think April 19th, 2025, and we won't be doing that. Princess does the Marriott hotel as their package, and so we will be doing that hotel. I don't know if we will be doing it with the group, as in meeting princess rep back and forth, kind of like the princess package, or if we'll be doing it by ourselves, just because rates and stuff as a travel agent, I can get different packages. So for myself personally. So but I just found it wasn't really necessary to be that close to the cruise port. But that's where like knowing your port and researching your port and knowing what hotels are good. I only do Marriott's unless I absolutely have to do something else. Just because consistency, we have found the Marriott hotels to be the most consistent and the best brand for us. So get your flights, get your transfers, get your hotels all booked. Like I said, around that 330 days, you can do flights before your cruise, and then I would recommend doing your hotels and transfers as soon as possible. Just because then you don't have to worry. Like, I'm probably going to book our transfers for our Sun Princess as soon as I remember to do it. Even though that one's 1.5 years from now, I can probably book my transfers now. Once all that is sorted, excursions. Excursions are often available before you can do your flights and stuff, but excursions often will change what's available. So like if I looked right now for the Sun Princess, we are 1.5 years out. My flights are not available, but my excursions are. So we are starting to research excursions, but we won't actually book excursions just yet. However, if you are looking at a very specific excursion and it's most likely going to sell out, it's a super popular excursion, I would highly recommend booking it ASAP because you don't want to miss out on that. Again, this is somewhere that I don't like as a travel agent with Royal because they won't let me even book excursions for clients, whereas Princess I can book all the excursions. It's great. But you want to research your excursions, book those excursions, find out what's in port, decide if you even want to do something in port. If you are a first-time cruiser, here's a tip for you. You don't have to do an excursion. You don't even have to get off the ship. You do not have to get off the ship if you don't want to. I've only done that once, but we've done multiple ports where we, twice, because we didn't get off in Port Canaveral. We've done multiple ports where we get off and do our own thing. We have 13 days coming up in Norway, and we're only doing 2 excursions. I think we only have 2 excursions out of 11 different ports, I think, or 10 different ports. We only have 2 excursions. So definitely do your research on your destination and see where it's safe to go, what they have. Hop on and off trolleys are great. Hopping off buses are great. Anything like that, if you're just like us, where you just want like a casual, calm excursion, an easy itinerary of just being like, I just want to get off the ship, see a few things by bus. There's private excursions. There's resort for a day pass. We're doing that in Aruba. We're doing a resort pass for Aruba. So yeah, you can kind of just decide what itineraries, what excursions you want to do. Now is the time to book it. Like I said, you can book them before your flights, but we tend to wait until our flights are booked, with some exceptions. Like we have a back-to-back Eastern Western Caribbean with Princess over Christmas break, and we wanted a cabana for Princess Key. we're going there twice, but we're like, the first time we go, we'll book a cabana. And I knew those were gonna sell out, so we already booked our cabana for that cruise. At that point now where our flights are also booked, our transfers are booked, our hotel's booked, like we're in that whole booking stage anyway, but we haven't booked our 2 other excursions yet. So now you also want to be thinking about packages. If you did not get the Princess Plus or Premier packages, but you do want to get an internet package or a drink package, or you're like, oh man, I didn't book my Princess Plus or Premier, and now I'm realizing by the time I get my drinks and I still have to pay gratuities, now's the time to do it. You can also prepay your gratuities. Highly recommend doing that. We usually do that. I think every cruise we've done that because it's just one less expense once you get to the cruise instead of paying, like for some of our cruises, like we're looking at $500 a person or more depending on the cruise because of just how long we're cruising for. So definitely look into doing that if you want to have more things paid for in advance. But yeah, now's the time. Check out the internet packages, check out the drink packages. Often there's a reduced rate for some of those depending on the cruise line. If you book early enough. The exception is if you are platinum or elite and you get an internet discount and you want to take advantage of that, you can prepay your internet and then you get reimbursed the difference, is my understanding. I have not done it. But if you wait till you're on the ship, you'll just automatically get your discount. So if you're platinum or elite, you probably aren't watching this video because you've probably had enough cruises, especially if you're elite. You've done enough cruises that you know how to plan your own cruise, or you know how to use a travel agent. So anyway, this is more for first-time cruisers. But if you are looking also at this point, definitely look into getting insurance. Princess offers their own insurance packages, plus your travel agent or whoever you tend to do insurance with, you can book through them. I am in Canada. I am not licensed to sell insurance, so I am not licensed to tell you the pros and cons of what insurance packages and stuff are, but I will tell you that I get the Princess package. The Platinum, I think, is the one that we tend to go to because as soon as you are Ruby and above, you actually get the Platinum package for the same price as the standard package. So I get the Platinum package, but the standard package if you're a first-time cruiser is great. Otherwise, you might want to get the Platinum package, but compare them, see what you want. I also have insurance through work. I'm in Canada, so healthcare domestically is covered by our national healthcare or our provincial healthcare. But then I also have travel insurance through my work. So Princess covers the cancellation for the Princess parts and certain aspects of medical and certain aspects of cancellation stuff. Then my work will cover the rest of the medical. And then I have in the past, I don't know if I'm going to do it this year or not, also having my own medical insurance through like CAA or Blue Cross or whatever. I do an annual package. I've done that the last couple years, but I'm gonna have to compare what my work offers, what Princess offers, and see if it's worth paying the extra. Because we do the annual one, it's usually not too bad, but as we are traveling longer and longer, I have to see what my work covers, because maybe my work only covers trips up to 14 days, and now we're doing trips that are 25, 30, 40 days. So yeah, I have to do my own research for my own insurance, but like I said, I am not licensed to sell insurance. All my insurance for my clients has to be done through a portal. But yeah, get insurance. Do not get insurance because you never know what might happen. Sadly, I had a client pass away last week. So now, thankfully, the wife is not past final payment, so she can cancel without any penalties. But things happen, life happens, medical things happen. Even stuff like lost baggage. You think of how many times airlines have lost luggage. It's been a lot lately, or it seems like it. Travel insurance will cover some of those costs of getting stuff that you need during your cruise if your luggage is lost. Also, I just want to add something onto flights. Booking flights through the cruise line is your best option. Especially, I always recommend flying in the day before, at least the day before, which is why I say about pre-cruise hotels. Post-cruise, I don't usually do a post-cruise hotel. We're doing it for Europe because the flights the next day are cheaper. We're doing it for our Caribbean because flights the next day are cheaper. But usually I don't do a post-cruise hotel, but always recommend doing a pre-cruise hotel. 2 days if it's during a busy time of year like Christmas. 2 days if you're doing international, because if you have jet lag, you want to kind of have a day to reset, and it's a good option just to explore whoever you are. 1 day for all other stuff. But booking your flights through the cruise line, you have that insurance as well, that if for some reason your flight is delayed or canceled or anything like that, you will not miss your ship. Or I shouldn't say you won't miss your ship. You will be covered if you miss your ship. They will fly you to your next port, all that kind of thing. So if I will not book clients, I don't book airfare for clients unless it's through the cruise line. That's the only airfare that I book for clients. And if they come to me, especially if they're like, I want to fly in the day of, it's like, here's the risks involved. I don't like doing that. I have had clients almost miss ships, which is not fun. Yeah, so get insurance, do all the things. Dining and reservations. Also, usually, depending on your cruise line, but with Princess, unless you are higher up in status, you cannot book your dining reservations until final payment. So once final payment is done, then you can book your dining reservations. For us, we don't eat in the dining room, so we don't do any of that. We don't do specialty dining, so we don't actually book any dining reservations. Princess is now going back to having a set dining time, so that is booked when you book your cruise. Either you or your travel agent will select an early or late dining time. Or anytime dining, which is what we do. And then if you did anytime dining, this is when you can book your reservations for specialty dining and for the MDR, if that is what you're interested in doing, the main dining room. This is your time to book all your reservations. I recommend doing it sooner rather than later, especially if you want to eat with certain people, or it's like, oh, I know I want to eat in the dining room on this day because it's a holiday. I want to eat in the dining room on Christmas because it's Christmas, that kind of stuff. Should check with my brother if we want to eat in the dining room for Christmas. Probably not. We're not past final payment, so I'm not booking anything anyway, but yeah, so make your dining reservations. Once you are done your dining reservations, also put in any special requests. You can do this on the app for some extent, but if you have very strict like allergies or specific needs, put in a special request through the accessible office with Princess. Your travel agent can do this for you. If you are bringing a mobility device, a wheelchair, a walker, anything like that, if you have any mobility issues, there is actually a form that you need to fill out saying, I am bringing a wheelchair, these are the dimensions of it, this is what I can and cannot do. All that needs to be filled out and sent into Princess in advance. If you booked an accessible room, you'll need to also, like, if you booked an accessible room, you need a wheelchair, you need to fill out all that stuff. Dietary restrictions, can be put in through that office as well. It's hit and miss on how things are with stuff with dietary restrictions. Put in the request and make sure your travel agent or your travel agent puts it in. Make sure you put it in the app, and then if you're in the main dining room, make sure you tell your head waiter right away. Sometimes they're available even the embarkation day before dining, and just be like, hey, this is what we need, this is our allergies, blah blah blah. And if they can't get you something off the menu, they'll try to accommodate you that night. But then usually what will happen is the night before, so like say you're eating on day one, the evening of day one before you leave, they'll ask you what you want to eat for day two. And that's where if you have severe allergies or severe dietary restrictions, like celiac is a huge one that I recommend highly to eat in the dining room. It's not my style, but for those that need really strong restrictions and allergies and stuff, the MDR is the way better route to go, just because they can accommodate you better. And I also recommend doing a set dining time. So before Princess went back to their whole, we're gonna have a set dining time, they were doing just open dining, which I love that. I preferred that, but whatever. A lot of people obviously didn't. But I was recommending booking the same dining time for the same waiter and stuff like that anyway, because having the same wait staff, like your wait staff will get to know you, and it's just so much better to be like, oh yeah, they know exactly what I need, they know what I can't have, that kind of things. So coming up to now, you're getting closer and closer to your cruise. Check over cruise line policies, see what the dress code is, so Princess is a pretty like smart casual for formal nights and stuff like that. So check how many formal nights you have and anything like that. Check out packing lists. If you are working with a travel agent, see if they have a packing list they can send you. See if you can get any information about each destination for what to pack for those destinations. Because, for instance, Alaska is very rainy. You're going to want a rainproof jacket, waterproof jacket. You're going to want to make sure that you have good shoes that aren't going to get soaked. If you're traveling with kids, you're going to want a good travel stroller. You're not going to want your giant stroller. If you are cruising over a holiday, maybe you want to bring something a little bit nicer, all that kind of stuff. Check out the policies for stuff like what you can't bring on board. These tend to be across the board on what you can't bring. There doesn't seem to be that much difference between cruise line policies, but stuff like make sure that you get, if you are traveling, especially on an older cruise ship, you're gonna wanna make sure that you have a non-surge adapter for your stuff, so that way, because you cannot bring a surge bar, you cannot bring a power bar, it has to be non-surge. There's special ones on Amazon, Traveling Beyond Boundaries website.com. So travelingbeyondboundaries.com is my website, and on there I have a product list, and on there has like the travel adapters and stuff. You're gonna want to make sure that you get, like, if you're cruising more than once, I highly recommend getting the luggage tag protectors, because they will save you from getting lost luggage. Also, I highly recommend, if you are cruising with Princess, getting some sort of accessory for your medallion, not through Princess. Princess accessories are fine, they're just overpriced in my opinion and lacking variety. So the medallion is actually the same size as the air tag. So if you want to get an air tag like wristband, that will actually fit your medallion. So highly recommend getting all that at this point as you are about to get ready to cruise. Another thing you want to do, and you probably want to do this at least 6 months before your cruise, but you're going to want to check your visa, what visas you might need, and your passport. Check your passport. Your passport usually has to last at least 6 months past your return of your trip. So like if your passport, you're getting home July 5th, but your passport expires September 5th, no, you need to renew your passport because you might be denied boarding for that. Even though it's months after, passports have a valid lifespan of, like, in Canada, I do 10-year passports, but so they're actually 9.5 years. If you have a 5-year passport, it's 4.5 years. You very much have to make sure that your passport is valid. If you have a travel agent, that's what they should be doing. Also visas, you should get a list from Princess what visas you might need. Double check what visas you need. Again, if you are working with a travel agent, they should know all that. And that's the reason why I only do cruises and I mostly do Princess, because I know Princess destinations and I know what visas. Whereas, like, I don't know all-inclusives. I don't know what you need to go to Mexico with an all-inclusive. Probably the same as with a cruise ship, but that's just not my thing. So yeah, so there you have it. I hope that wasn't too fast. Like I said, I know I talk really fast, but there's lots of things to plan when you're planning your cruise. And like I said, if you want to come, I have a group cruise going on, Mexico 2020, April, I think it's April 19th. Don't quote me on that. I have a group cruise going on if you want to come join me on a cruise, especially if you're a first-time cruiser and you're just like, I don't know if cruising's for me, or I'm worried about cruising. We will be there to handhold you every step of the way. If you're like, I don't want to eat with you though, don't worry, you don't have to eat with me, you don't have to do excursions with me. You don't have to do anything. It's just the fact that you'll know someone on board. We also have a good variety of people with different special needs and whatnot on board. Down syndrome, autism, ADHD. We're very neurodiverse. So if you're like, hey, I have ADHD and I want to cruise, come join us. Come join us. And then, so I have a group cruise for that. We're doing a group cruise to Alaska in 2026, but those dates are not out yet. But that information will be posted on my channel, so subscribe. They'll be on in my community tab. It will be blasted all over Facebook. I have that Facebook group. If you have questions, comments, anything like that, you want advice, you want destination ideas, anything like that, go post it over there. Like I said, I do mostly Princess, but I also, like, if you want information about other cruise lines, go over there. I do have some information about other cruise lines, or if you have questions about other cruise lines, that's where you to go. Don't post it on YouTube, because unless it's just a general one, usually I won't go in depth with anything with other cruise lines other than Princess on my YouTube, because my YouTube channel is Princess. And what else? So Facebook group, subscribe, all those things. And yeah, I'll post a video here. I'll post the one about saving money. So if you're watching this after the fact, how do I save thousands of dollars on my cruises? So looking forward to saving thousands when we go to Alaska. But yeah, that video will be popping up there, and I will see you guys later. Subscribe for next week. Next week, maybe not. My daughter's having surgery, so we might not, but we might. I don't know yet. Anyway, goodbye. 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 Goodbye.